toxic culture and burnout. So the first topic will be envy. When someone has insecurities, when they have pride, when they're ignorant to somebody's life, they can become very envious and jealous and start to lust over somebody's life. And when somebody has envy, sometimes they don't know how to deal with it. They assume the person doesn't deserve what they have. They might see their potential. They might be envious over small petty things, and it can ruin the person's life. The person is innocent. They might be going through low self-esteem themselves, but at the same time, because the person's not aware of their potential, sometimes they can take the attacks from an envious person personally and think they're the problem. They might feel like they have to be a people pleaser. They might have to chase the person. Be a people pleaser, and they have to overly give, overly share their life, and that's when the spirit of rejection comes in. The person had spirit of jealousy, and the other person thinks it's spirit of rejection they're feeling, but someone that has deep envy has gone around and they're planted the seed of doubt in other people and gossip about them, make them see them in a bad light. So they now see the person in a bad light and the person's acting funny. So sometimes, you're going through rejection somewhere and people are giving you funny looks, they're rolling their eyes, and you're being kind, you're being caring, and you're trying to be as friendly as you can, but people keep walking away. They act busy, you're trying to be friendly, but they look like they're in a rush. They look like they're in a rush. You want to fellowship and be friendly, but they just don't seem to be interested. Some cases it's spirit of rejection, but sometimes the envious person has planted a seed of doubt in others, and now that the person has has this, and sometimes it's spiritual. Sometimes if the leader is envious, everybody else will be. If the person is irritated by you, the ringleader always wins sometimes. So it's really, really important to not take it personally when it comes to spiritual abuse and envy, because sometimes the person deludes themselves, and they justify their envy instead of instead of dealing with it instead of dealing with their envy. They don't cast it down, they justify it. And it's so important to you know um, not to take it personally, because sometimes when you do take it personally, you start to experience spirit of rejection. And it's so important to know your identity in Christ and to have healthy self-esteem when you're going through stuff like this, because sometimes you will get people that have high positions, that have titles, they have titles, and they are doing better than you. You might look at them and they are doing better than you. You're probably struggling. You're probably struggling right now. Or you don't have much as them, but they still want to tear you down. They still want to put you down. And sometimes it's very, very heartbreaking when you're trying to be a people pleaser. You do everything you can, and they still they're still throwing shit at you. They're still complaining, and they're moody. It's uncomfortable. It's not always spirit of rejection. Sometimes it's envy. They feel moody around you. They have an attitude, and you're wondering what you did. You come to church to feel good. You come for fellowship, but this person seems to be so moody and angry, and you feel uncomfortable. You want to do. You want to be in Bible study. You want to do these courses. You want to fellowship. You want to serve, and sometimes you just have this feeling that they don't like you, and you trying to wonder you're trying to wonder, what did you do? And you feel like, what did I really do? Like, is there something I said? And you just don't feel comfortable. And you kind of want to set, you kind of want, you want to be brave. You want to be brave, and you want to be brave and, serve and do everything, but this energy you're getting from them, and you just don't feel comfortable. And sometimes when someone's envious, they really want to shame you, they really want to embarrass you. They have to embarrass you. They have to make you chase and force things. I don't know if they get kind of they get really excited seeing you like panic and try when you're like, especially when you're trying to collaborate with them and you're trying to do things, and you have to chase them and find them, and it's like they get like really excited seeing you panic and trying to force a collaboration, and you're just waiting for them. They just feel really good about it, like you're forcing it. So don't force it. Don't force it. Don't force it with people that are envious. This is really important to pray for them. Pray for their souls. Pray that they'll get self-esteem, and don't gossip about it, because sometimes you'll look crazy. If you are concerned, the first person, um, you should talk to God first. Yeah, talk to God first, and pray, journal, because if you just go around gossiping, you look crazy. You look like a gossiper, and I know you want to. I know you're a solution based person. You want a solution, but sometimes, um, you will look crazy. You look like a drama queen, and that's why I encourage people to journal. I encourage people to journal and to talk to God a lot about your problems, because sometimes we do talk a lot, and you're concerned. It looks like you're gossiping, and when it comes to gossiping and nitpick, you look like you're nitpicking. They say, oh, you're nitpicking. Oh, you're just nitpicking. And, it's just so important to use discernment. Take things slowly. Don't jump into things so quickly. See how people are. How is their mood around you? When you say good things about yourself, like you got good news, just good news. How did they act? How do they respond to it? Are they supportive? Are they going? Are they? Do they have a bad mood? Are they throwing shade at you? Are they throwing indirect digs? They might not tell you in person. They might not say it, but sometimes you can catch a dig and pray about it, and God will confirm it to you that yeah, that person's insecure, the person's insecure, they're jealous, and they have an issue with you, and that's totally fine. But some people, they jump to conclusions. They go around gossiping. They get so angry, and they jump to conclusions, and then they look crazy. And everyone's talking about them, saying, "Oh, she's doing too much. She's doing too much," and she's just so vain and arrogant. And sometimes when you're concerned, you might want to go around telling people, but that's the time you should go and pray and ask God for clarity, because sometimes people are people are very ignorant sometimes, and they won't see it. The person's not jealous of them, so they feel, oh, it was in your head. It's all in your head. They might say, oh, it's all in your head. It's in your head. You're just thinking things. You're just suspicious. You're just suspicious all the time. It's all in your head, and they just make, it's just crazy making, gaslighting. Like, oh, they just want to gaslight you, because that's why a lot of narcissists love positions and titles, because they feel like their title is a protection, and they can get away with so much things, But it's so important to not take it personally when it comes to envy, and it is dangerous. Envy is very dangerous. It could turn to witchcraft. Witchcraft, cursing, word cursing is it needs to be dealt with, and if the person carries on being envious, and they have deep jealousy, and they don't deal with it, it could ruin your life, because They try to do witchcraft on you, and you be thinking that, oh, you know what, bad luck. It's just bad luck. Like your life is falling apart. Your life keeps falling apart, and you think it's all of you, it's your fault, and everyone's hearing about you that you're just not reliable. Your life is falling apart, and you wonder what's going on. It's so important to seek wise counsel, because when it comes to witchcraft and bad luck, you think it's just bad luck. You're not a blessed lucky person, but things people do when it comes to jealousy, it's very, very dark, very, very evil, and you might think that they won't do it, but you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. That's why it's so important to be in prayer and to have discernment and to know when to walk away, because when it comes to cursing, witchcraft, you don't play with stuff like that. Abuse, it's not something you could run to the doctors for. It's not something you could go to the police about. It's so important to be safe. It's so important to be safe, because some people out there are very bitter. They have bitterness, they have jealousies in the Bible. Selfish ambition, jealousy, bitterness. And the words are full of cursing. I can't remember what scripture that was. But it's full of cursing. They're angry, they're bitter. They're really, really angry and bitter, and they don't see you as human. And that's when objectification comes in. They're jealous of you, they objectify you, they forget you're human. And when it comes to jealousy and envy, they forget you're human, and your life is falling apart, and they're laughing about it. And you come to church, you come to church because you want to heal. You come to church because you want to heal, and you want that healing. You want to be delivered from the torture. And they come in there, they see your testimony, they hear your testimony, and they get envious of you, and you're wondering why they're envious. My life is falling apart, and you're trying to tell them your story, and nothing's working. They become more envious, and it's like you come here to get healing and to serve, and you're trying to serve and heal, and your life is falling apart. You think, what's going on? Why is my life falling apart? I need answers. And you can't serve, you're doing all these certain things, and you can't sleep at night, you're tormented. You really gotta step back and think, is somebody doing cursing on me? Is it jealousy? You want to prosper somewhere that you can feel safe, and to, be the woman or the man that God called you to be. But sometimes when it comes to envy, they objectify you, they see you as competition, and they try to humiliate you and shame you. And when you come to church, some people just want to be vulnerable. They want to be vulnerable. They want to heal from heartbreak, and they're just being so honest in themselves. And they're not trying to show off. But sometimes you will get women that are insecure. You will get women that are jealous. You will get women that just can't help it. But at the same time, you have to protect yourself. We'll have different purposes in life, and sometimes there's no point of being somewhere and they're being envious of you. It's like their spirit can't take you. You irritate their demons, and they just don't want to be in your. They don't want to be near you, and you can sense it, and you feel like they're irritated by you. So it's really, really important to keep praying, seek wise counsel. There's so much knowledge about witchcraft, cursing, and envy. Spirit of jealousy. Sometimes people praising you, and they say, "Oh, you're doing so well. You did this. Wow!" And you get attention, and the person, maybe a leader or pastor, is being envious of you, and you just feel like, "Oh, I'm just trying to do my thing. And they're being envious, and next thing you know, they're giving the cold shoulder, silent treatment. They're leaving you out of stuff, exclusion, silent treatment. They don't include you, and you feel like you're isolated. It's just not a good feeling. It really isn't. And don't ignore that. It's so important not to ignore that, because cause sometimes if you don't talk to God first, you might be gaslighted. People might gaslight you and say, "Oh, it's in your head. Oh, it's in your head." That's why it's so important to put God first and just talk to God about it, because God will show you. He'll make you see things clearly, and you won't have to do anything. God will fight for you. God will fight for you. Anything you see And sometimes when people have power, that's why Jezebels love power, because once they have the power and title, they feel like no one will hold them accountable, and they feel very, very powerful. But God is stronger. And when you go to God first, that's powerful. When you start gossiping and you're complaining and you're showing yourself up, you just open yourself up to being gaslighted and just seen as a crazy person. But when you talk to God first, and you read the Bible and you're worshiping, you're helping yourself, and it's so important not to take it personally. So it's really important not to be ignorant to witchcraft. When it comes to bad luck. Before you came to the church, how was your life? I don't know. Sometimes when you call to ministry, sometimes when you call to ministry, you might lose a job, you might lose distraction, you might lose friends, you might God might remove everyone away from you, so you can have that bond with just you and God. And sometimes it's not witchcraft. Sometimes it's just God is hiding your value. God is hiding your value. And sometimes when everybody goes, everyone's walking away, it could feel like attack. It could feel like you're being attacked, but sometimes God just wants you by yourself, and He wants you to really focus on. He's probably preparing you for ministry. He's preparing you, and you're scared to be alone. There's nothing wrong with isolation for like a season, not your whole life, but there's gonna be a time when you and God, and you might feel like you're being abused when you're by yourself, and you feel like is it witchcraft, but you will find if you keep praying, you'll find clarity, you'll get peace. You start to feel peaceful. You start to see what your passions are, purpose, and your calling, and it become clearer. But sometimes when you do lose a job, everyone finds out, oh no, you lost your job. Oh my gosh, I can't hang out with her. She's weird. And you might feel like, oh, I need the deliverance. I need help. I need this. I need that. And you panic. But sometimes, sometimes God just wants you by yourself, and you will get those days when you feel like, am I called to ministry? My life is falling apart. I'm losing my friends. I'm losing my family. No one wants to talk to me. I keep struggling at work. I got fired. You start to think, is this witchcraft, or am I called to ministry? If I'm called to ministry, why is my pastor ignoring me? Why aren't they confirming with me that I'm called to ministry? If my life is falling apart and nothing's working for me, why haven't they confirmed? But sometimes when it comes to it could be the prophetic. Sometimes when you have a prophetic calling, it could take years for people to see it. It could take years for people to see it. They don't see it now. Doesn't mean that you stop your passion. You stop that burden you have. That burden you have to serve, to have purpose. You don't stop what you're doing. Because sometimes you have peace, you have purpose, and you're doing your thing, and God's giving you downloads, and you feel good. And the moment people act funny, they roll their eyes, or they exclude you, or they just make you uncomfortable. Sometimes you're gonna be rejected. Sometimes you're gonna be rejected, and sometimes you have to just not take it personally and keep moving forward and praying. We've talked about ignorance. It can happen because of ignorance. Just like you're the scapegoat. Maybe example, they see you as a scapegoat. They have issues. They're angry. They're angry at certain people, and they don't have the guts to go to the person and tell them the issue. You're the easy target. And sometimes when you go through spiritual abuse, you're the easy target. They see you as sweet and quiet, or they see you as somebody they can lash out on. That's why I tell people how important it is to know that when you're like the Esther anointing, like you being an Esther. Esther was an orphan. She had a mentor, and she was an orphan. If you come from a broken family and you're looking for a church home, you want to feel loved, you want to be taken care of, and you want a good mentor. Sometimes that don't happen. You end up being the scapegoat, unfortunately. You might be looking for a mentor. You might come from a broken home, and you're looking for a mentor to take care of you, to love on you, and to give you good direction and encouragement. And sometimes that doesn't happen. You're the scapegoat. You're the Cinderella. Go over there and do this, do that, and they're bossing you around. So it's so important not to become the scapegoat. They blame you for everything. They blame you for everything, and they never applaud you on your success. They see you as an easy target to blame things on. They gaslight you. They pick on you, and they just complain to you, and all the anger they have on other people, they take it on you. And sometimes you probably see like you hear about Esther and how she's an orphan and she made an impact, and she was mentored and she had purpose. And you might feel like if you go to this church, you're gonna be loved on, you're gonna find a mentor, it's gonna be beautiful. But sometimes you could end up being a scapegoat. They see you as easy target, because some churches are family and friendship based. Family, bring your family and friends. If you're from a broken home or you're from a broken relationship and you're just coming by yourself and you just want to get healing and stuff, sometimes they will see you as easy target. They might see you as an easy target. They might feel like, oh, every time I'm angry and going to her, like anything that if they have a blame, if they want to blame somebody, they're going to you. They violate your boundaries, they isolate you, and they make sure no one knows your good gifts, and they isolate you, and they just use you. And you might feel very heartbroken about that, because sometimes we hear about people find their tribe and fellowship, and don't want to happen. So it's so important to, not to be discouraged by ignorance, because when people do find a scapegoat, they want someone to blame, and sometimes people are angry. Some people they don't know how to manage their emotions, and they think that being angry and intimidating is is strong and being alpha. But no, it's knowing how to manage your emotions is important. And sometimes when it when it comes to um picking on someone, if you are environment, they get offended, and they offended by everything. Sometimes it's just sensitive. It's alright, but if you're praying and journaling, it makes things easier to deal with things. It makes things easier when you're journaling and praying. So it could also come from bitterness. Maybe some of their leaders, they're very controlling. They made their life a living hell, and they want revenge. Some people are very bitter. They're not at where they want. They're not at, how do I say it? They're not. Maybe how they're treated by their leader, pastor, or their mother or father. They were criticized, they were bullied, they mistreated. They had a rough upbringing, so they try to, be as aggressive and think that they're doing the right thing. It helped them, so they just have so much bitterness in their heart, and they shout at you. They're shouting at you. They use intimidation. They use fear tactics. They use shame tactics because of what happened to them. It's not right. It really isn't right. But when it comes to fear tactics and shame, they use shame to get, because they feel like they have to use shame to get you to submit. They have to use shame. They have to use fear to get you to submit. So it's what they know, and they're bitter. They're angry because how things were, and they're not trying to find a solution. They're not trying to make a change and make a difference and be a generational curse breaker. It's that they're carrying it on. They're carrying it on because of how bitter they are. And they want others to feel the same way they felt. They probably felt ashamed. They probably have to deal with public shame. They probably have to deal with mistreatment. And they just lash out to anybody because of what happened to them. Because of what happened to them, they have to just do the same thing, and they're bitter and they're angry. They had to get up in the morning every day. They had to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning every day, and they want other people to do it too. And that's why people are burning out. because they keep saying, oh, it worked for me. You know, it worked for me. So you're gonna do it too. I used to get up in the morning at 3 a.m. every morning. You're doing it too. And they just have this business, they have rules. And they probably felt like they probably felt like their parents sucked the fun out of religion and they want revenge. And they're just giving all these rules and stuff and they feel like they're doing something good. And they delude themselves thinking they're doing the right thing. It worked out for him at the end, and they just have this bitterness. And that's why people are very burnt out right now. They have all these rules, they're busy all the time, and now they start to wonder, God loves you. God loves you. You know, the cult, you know, you don't want to end up in a situation you feel like you can't come out of it. And you feel like we call Jezebel for saying certain things. So they get heartbroken, they get shamed, and they backslide because of how ashamed they feel. They feel a lot of shame. They feel so disappointed. It's so important not to idolize anybody. It's so important not to idolize people, and to put people on a pedestal. Um, and next one, it could be trauma. You know, maybe spiritual abuse, and you're trying to what happened in the past. They're triggered by what happened. It's so important to get to the root of it. If you always feel always triggered and it's not helping, it's important to just take time out to distance yourself for a bit, and take time in nature and pray to God and get wise counsel, because you might be triggered by the past. Something happened to you, and you feel triggered. You feel like, oh no, you thought you healed from that. You know, you might years ago it happened, and you thought that you healed from it, and then something happens, and you're triggered. You feel like this might happen again. You see it happening again. Somebody does something, and you feel like it might happen again. And it's so important not to run away and give up on what's going on, what happened, and God will give you that. God will give you the clarity you need. It's a lot of panicking and running away and giving up completely. Just go to God and talk to God about every situation you're going through, because it is traumatizing. Sometimes we feel like we've healed, and then something happens and you're triggered by what happened in the past. So know the difference between someone having a bad day and bad character. Someone having a bad day, they'll be sorry, they'll have accountability, and they'll move on. Everybody moves on, and they can carry on doing their purpose. But bad character, no one can hold them accountable. No one can say that wasn't right, and they agree and self-reflect. They won't say, oh, I'm gonna look on that. They just always right. They're always right, and they have no patience. They're short-tempered. They have an attitude. They're moody, always angry and moody. Everything just image. That's when it's bad character. So it's important to see a therapist. You know, get deliverance. Because when it comes to selfish ambition and jealousy and cults, you can get caught up if you're not careful. If you're not, not reading the Bible and praying to God and having that relationship. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening.